The goal is to get one of us to say,
can't do it.
If we've answered the question before, we could say asked and answered. It's one question to one of us, no follow-ups. Jay Zawoski, Rick Camp are eligible.
Yes, it can be personal, it can be professional, it can be just whatever you're into and would like to know. That's right. We talked to some heavy philosophical stuff at the beginning of this hour.
Yeah.
About what we would do with our lives in round 2. And then we had the Michael Irvin segment as well.
Which was something. Not a ton of people calling in right now. We've a couple have dropped. So if there's lines available for you, 312-644-6767. You ready to go?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Your last day of the work week. That's nice, man. I know it's spiritual and Jewish and all that, but was that a 5-day weekend for you? Thursday, yes. Friday, so a 4-day weekend. That's pretty nice.
There's some praying and some apologizing going on in there.
A little bit of atonement.
Yeah, a little bit.
Taylor, you're on Can't Do It. Who's your question for?
Boys, this one's going to be for Spiegel.
Yes, Taylor.
Spiegs, between Mully, Hanley, Bernstein, and Goff, who is the worst at their job?
No. Parkins loving the tension,
No. That's a tough question to answer. I don't want you to answer that one. That's a tough one.
You don't want me to answer.
Well, because I get blamed for anything that happens with Can't Do It.
You're bad for the hallways.
Even if it's something that you say.
You are bad for the hallways. All right, so Mully, Hanley, Bernstein, and Goff, who's the worst at their job? Let me think about this for a minute. No.
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
Sorry.
Taylor just won a free haircut from Sport Clips. Sport Clips, it's good to be a guy. That's the thing that I didn't anticipate. There are two things that I did not anticipate when I brought this segment to Chicago. One was how much the questions would be all about just like score drama, like people trying to create. I didn't think that was. I thought it would be some of it, but I did not think that would be the main thrust of it. And then the other part is, I didn't think I'd get blamed for everything that was said during the segment. like it could be a question that like you say something and you're like, man, I hate this segment. My girl hates the segment. It brings up something in my personal life, and then it's my fault. It's like guilt by association, so it's not good. Roger on the west side, who's your question for?
My question's for Danny.
That's me. What's up?
Danny, if you were a female, which one of the male score personalities would you have sexual relations with?
Jay Zawoski.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
2 for 2 weeks in a row I've been chosen.
Yeah, Jay Zawoski. Not good looking enough for it to be intimidating, but not ugly, cuddly, the whole thing. Yeah, of course.
I'm a tender lover.
Yeah. Jay Zawoski is really the only answer in that place, I think. Don't you, Speaks?
Well, I think he was opening it to all sports personalities. You have time slot options.
No, I know. No, I know. The whole staff.
Yeah, everybody.
Whole staff.
I mean, Dustin Rhodes came into the prep room today, talked to us for a little while.
He did.
You guys seem to be getting along just fine.
Dustin's fine. Yeah, sure. I get along with everybody. 312-644-6767. Kevin, you're on Can't Do It. Who's your question for?
Jay Zawoski.
Jay, hop on here.
I'm here.
Host of the Madhouse Hockey Podcast.
And the I'm Fat Podcast.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Go ahead, Kevin.
All right, my question is, I want you to explain what exactly transpired, or as far as you know, what transpired with Patrick Sharp, Duncan Keith, and a woman or two that caused Sharp and Keith to get separated a couple years ago.
All right, Kevin, I will answer that. And the truth is, I don't think it's true. I heard 15 versions of 15 different stories, and when you hear that, it usually means it's like a big game of telephone. Like you played in school, and one guy said one thing, and then he told his friend, on and on and on. I'm very careful with anything I report, and nothing that I heard in any version of those stories checked out the same way twice. Not one single detail. So I think that it just became exactly what it was a rumor. And the fact that Patrick Sharp is back should tell you something. Mm-hmm. Duncan Keith is still here. Those were the rumors, and I wouldn't think they'd bring him back, especially at this level of effectiveness, if it was going to be a big issue. So I don't think there's much truth to it. Did something happen? Maybe, but nothing I can confirm or report or say with any confidence is anything more than just dudes making stuff up.
Oh, and nothing that would drive the we have to trade him and get him out of here
Correct.
context, which always felt like a big pile of trash.
312-644-6767. There's some calls that are being screened right now, but Jay Zawaski was just asked a question, so we'll give him a second to get those calls up on the line. We've already had one winner in Can't Do It. Pat Manley will be in studio for the 12 o'clock hour. He was a teammate with Peanut Tillman, who's now training to join the FBI. And his special guest this week is Rasheed Davis.
Rasheed Davis is a good dude, good talker, who has been a wide receiver like these wide receivers on these Bears, trying to make a team, trying to make a mediocre quarterback better, and vice versa. So we'll talk to Rasheed about that, among other things.
Let's go to Brian in Algonquin. Brian, you're on Can't Do It on the Spiegel and Parkins show.
Yeah, hi, this is for Spiegs. Similar to earlier question, over the years, which other co-host have you found just the most challenging to work with, just from a personality basis or conflict of opinions based on different subject views?
It was very hard sometimes to work with Mac. I've talked openly about this. It was an intense and very fun and satisfying partnership, but sometimes he was volatile. And I was, green in terms of the everyday. I'd done a lot of national, but it's not the same as doing this every day. And there were some days like I would come in with, pages worth of material, and it'd be like 10:20, and I would have felt like I'd been shoved around my own material. Like I bring stuff up, I get shoved around, and it's 10:20, and I got nothing left. And I'm like, okay, what are we doing for the next 2 hours and 40 minutes? Yeah, that was certainly the most challenging.
I'm jealous you got to host with him.
Hey, man, I learned so much and had so many highs, and some lows, but so many highs. I mean, my God, I was thinking about it last night, man. The Blackhawks are playing.
Sure,
17 seconds. I'm in Boston with him for 17 seconds. Outrageous. Some of the stuff that we got to do.
That's pretty sweet. Let's go to Scott in Grays Lake. You're on Can't Do It.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, how's it going? I have a question. Mine is for Spiegel.
Yes, sir.
I would like to know the full disgusting details of when you came into the studio and Grobstein had an accident.
There was not anything here in the studio when we came in. But I had heard the previous show talk about their cleanup process. And, so that was then we responded to that. And it became a thing of like, oh, boy, I guess that happened.
Oh, so you didn't discover it?
No.
Okay.
I discovered a surprisingly...
Oh, right. I guess that would make sense. Morning show.
Yeah.
That's how the order
surprisingly
would go
clean
there.
studio. And then I think what people sometimes forget is that there was a lot of empathy and a lot of I am Spartacus sort of stuff that went on with that. Later on in the night, it was like, look, I've done this.
Just telling your own stories.
Team Grobber. Hashtag Team Grobber.
Yeah, sure.
Took place. And everybody stepped up like, the time I walked the dog and I was racing back and I got all the way to the bathroom and not quite. Hashtag Team Grobber.
Sure.
So we've all been there. It's just